You left. Your maid of honor, best friend, was it Reagan? Is that her name? Took over the comments section. How did that feel?
Brett Cooper recently sat down with Shawn Ryan, and he was pressing her on a lot of Daily Wire controversies surrounding her. So in today's video, we are going to take a deeper look at this, specifically the conversation around Brett Cooper and her ex-best friend, maid of honor, Reagan, and how she replaced Brett on the Daily Wire. I also want to take us to a few verses in the scriptures just to kind of give us some understanding and just something that we can hold on to if we face something similar in our own lives.
You left. Your maid of honor, best friend, was it Reagan? Is that her name? Took over the comments section. How did that feel?
Friendships are hard.
Are you guys still friends?
I would say so.
Would you like to still be friends?
Of course. I talked about that actually in another Dear Brett thing. Adult friendships are really hard. You always think it's going to get easier. Kind of just gets harder. And with more people knowing who you are and having influence and having eyes on you, then you kind of question people's motives in being friends with you. And it's kind of like a hard knowing how to meet people. And so I'm like loyal to maybe a fault. But I like...
Do you feel that she was disloyal in taking the role?
No, she can do. She's an adult. And this is what I will always stand by. You have to make the decision that is good for you and your family. I did that, and she did that.
Now, before we go any further and we see Shawn press her even more on this, I did want to say I did not watch the Daily Wire much at all, religiously or anything like that. But I do know that Brett Cooper was one of the faces of Daily Wire. Yes, you had Ben Shapiro, but man, Brett Cooper was the it girl when it came to that show. And people loved tuning in and loved watching her and seeing what she had to say about political things, different things that are happening around the world, all that stuff. Well, when she got booted from Daily Wire, man, that started a lot of conversation. And the conversations only escalated when her best friend, her maid of honor, Reagan, took her spot. And so it led to a lot of conversations being had, a lot of speculations being had. And so it's good to see what Brett has to say about this situation to kind of bring clarity to it. But now we're going to see Shawn press her even more on this.
Why do you think the friendship fell apart? If you wish her the best of success.
Friendships are hard.
Do you want to say anything to her?
Now, before we see what Brett has to specifically say to her, obviously, clearly, there are things that happen that Brett's not sharing, Reagan hasn't shared, people aren't sharing. And that's understandable. It's not everybody's business, but something else is going on here. And so there are a few passages that I want to read, a few verses. And Proverbs chapter 27, verse 6 says, "Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful." And then in Matthew chapter 43, verses 43 to 44, it says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy.' But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you." This is hard for us to do. This is going to be hard for Brett to do. This is going to be hard for, even as born again believers, for us to live out, but it's what we need to do. We need to bless those who curse us, do good to those who hate us, and pray for those who spitefully use us and persecute us. That's what we need to do. That is a command from the Lord Jesus. And so we need to submit to that. As hard as it may be with things that we are going through in our life, we need to submit to that because that is what reflects Christ. That is what brings him honor and glory. And then finally, I did want to take us to Luke chapter 12, verse 2, where it says, "For there is nothing covered that will not be revealed, nor hidden that will not be known." This just gives us peace and comfort, knowing that the truth will always be revealed, that light will shine on the darkness, that whatever kind of shady things were going on behind closed doors with this whole Daily Wire situation with Brett and Reagan and the ex-CEO, etc., things are going to be revealed. They won't always be kept secret. So we will find out the truth eventually. But we do need to just be reminded of these verses that I just read over. And so let's see what Brett has to say specifically to her ex-best friend, Reagan.
That's a difficult question. But at the end of the day, I do. I wish you success and I wish you well. And I hope that she chases the things that she wants, and I never wish that, to not work for anybody. But I mean that genuinely. I have people, there have been so many people that have come in and out of my life over the years. And I think that it's important to let go. Can't control everything, even though you might like to. People make their own decisions. Sometimes it hurts. But at the end of the day, everybody's figuring it out. And we make choices, we live with choices, we do what we believe is best for us and our goals and our dreams. So yeah.
Good for you.
That's a healthier way to handle it.
Good for you.
Clearly there's hurt there. Clearly she's not fully healed from what happened, what her ex-best friend did, but we can see some little snippets of some things drop there where obviously Reagan was chasing what she ultimately wanted and desired, and that was to replace Brett Cooper. That was to take over her spot. And clearly we see at what cost. Reagan has lost a best friend, lost somebody who sounded like they would ride or die with this individual and stand with them through the fire. And now Reagan doesn't have that. And we have to ask ourselves this question: at what cost are we willing to chase after something? The biggest thing we need to do is go to the Lord in prayer, go to the saints in the church who we fellowship with weekly, and ask them for wisdom and guidance in prayer. We need to submit to what the Lord is directing us and leading us to, and ultimately making sure whatever decision we make honors and glorifies Him. A lot of hurt was done with this. We can still see that there are a lot of wounds that have not healed with Brett. We can see the pain in her eyes, hear it in her voice. So let's be praying for her and her new endeavors and her new podcast that she started, and just praying that, man, the truth would be revealed. In time, the truth will be revealed. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the BTteam Ministry YouTube channel, as well as drop a like and leave a comment down below. I would love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, you might like this one over here.